They're appropriate. You will not get hung up on.
Okay. Hello, I am Latanya West, the managing editor of the San Diego Voice and Viewpoint newspaper. I've been the managing editor for about a little over 4 years now. Born in San Diego, raised in LA, back here in my hometown. Parents grew up here as well, and just really happy to have the opportunity to serve and be a part of this wonderful institution called the San Diego Voice and Viewpoint newspaper.
Well, one of the things about it, you are very modest, and I understand that. That's how we grow up in this city. Sometimes we don't really toot our own horn or just share the different things. But can you give a little bit more background? Didn't you work with something like the L.A. Times or didn't you travel all over the country with plays? And come on, give us
Okay.
give
So
us
you
the
really want me to
juicy
go
juice.
back a little
Yeah.
bit. Okay. Well, I grew up in LA. Went to Berkeley, UC Berkeley.
Wait a minute, Cal Bears?
Cal Bears.
All right, go
Cal
Bears.
Bears, go
Yes.
Bears. And out of college, I went back to Los Angeles and worked at NBC,
Mm-hmm.
both in the network at Media Relations and at KNBC, the local news station. So got a lot of experience there with media relations, marketing, communications, PR work there. Pursued my dream and went on to act for a bit of my past, and I toured all over the Chitlin circuit with Shelley
Wait,
Garrett.
wait a minute. Y'all was eating chitlins?
Well, the Chitlin circuit,
Okay,
Chitlin
okay.
circuit. Yeah, we were eating chitlins a little bit along the way too,
Okay.
and lots of good Southern food because we went through a lot of those Southern towns all throughout, and some of the big cities too. So yeah, I did that. We also performed here at the Spreckles Theater in San Diego, so that was a great experience.
All right.
And then from there, I became a teacher.
Okay, so wait a
Yeah,
minute. You went into the school system?
I actually did. Yes, I
Oh,
did. I was
wow.
an elementary and middle school teacher.
Oh, wow.
13-year career.
Well, see, we got a lot in common. We got a lot in common because
Yeah,
I'm like on my 39th year in education and 30
39.
30 almost 40 years in ministry and 39 years in business. And so it seems like we got a lot in
Yeah, well,
common.
education,
Yeah.
definitely.
And then we both went to Berkeley.
Yep.
Oh, we owned us something right here this evening. So you're here in San Diego, and you've been a great part of making a lot of transitions that have been, kind of the dream of the managing or the editor, publisher, and editor, Dr. Warren. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. But before we get into that, we got to start talking about what's happening and what we're seeing. Let's first go with this coronavirus. I
Oh,
call it the
yes.
Lococo.
Yes, the Lococo.
Yeah, the Lococo, the Rona, all of
Yeah,
those
it's
names.
still around,
Yeah, let's talk about it.
unfortunately. Yep. Well, in the past few weeks, it's been amazing. Two young people that I have encountered interviewing for positions with our paper basically lost out on the positions because they didn't want to get vaccinated. They were
Wow.
against vaccination.
Hmm.
And it made an impression on me because I thought, wow, what is going on here? It made me kind of concerned for the young people too, because, COVID cases are still there, still on the move. They
Uh-huh.
haven't gone away. And it made me wonder why, what's going on? What do you think?
Well, the funny thing is that I go to the Black Man's Country Club once a week called the Barbershop.
Uh-huh.
And we have, at any time you have varying ages in the barbershop, and the whole vaccination conversation comes up. Now, mind you, at the barbershop that we go through, we have one person that's high risk. He's been vaccinated.
Yeah.
Two of them have been vaccinated, but we got one young, I'll probably call him a millennial, that he don't believe in the vaccination, don't feel like
Mm-hmm.
there's been enough research done, and so he will not get vaccinated. So he's had COVID twice.
Mm.
He actually has young people that actually work in the medical field
Who haven't gotten
and have not
vaccinated.
gotten vaccinated and
Yeah.
have had it multiple times. And it's
Yeah.
like, I'm building my immune system up. I think that the whole thing about conspiracy theories, not enough information, the fallout once they find out the outcomes or the fallout or the repercussions of these vaccines, everybody then will say, I shouldn't have taken it because they feel like in the long run, it's going to actually hurt people's health.
They think that by
Yeah.
getting the vaccine, it's going to hurt their health.
Yeah, because they feel like there's not been enough
Studies
information and studies and everything else
Yeah.
of that nature.
And I understand that, but when you start to look into it, then you realize that a lot of the studying has been done prior to this latest pandemic. But also, I want to make clear that we don't require the vaccine, just in case anybody's worried about that. We just are respecting our employees who, on their own, have gotten vaccinated and boosted, and we just are. You have a choice. It's a personal choice, and we respect that. But we're very serious about protecting our employees.
And the one thing about it is that in many cases the vaccination right now is really not as much as about you as it is about other people.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is that let's be real. And I'm the head of my household. I am the breadwinner of my household. So if I go down with COVID or if I lose my life to COVID, it impacts not only me directly, but it impacts my
Other
family
people.
and everybody else. And if I'm a carrier,
Yeah.
if I'm a carrier, then just think about it. And I hate to use the comparison, but when the AIDS epidemic hit, if you would spread AIDS knowing that you had it, it was a criminal
legal.
act.
Yeah, it was legal. Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
and you could go to jail.
Right.
And some people receive life because they basically infected people because they had the virus. They knew they had the virus, and they still were doing the things that they were doing.
Yeah.
I really think that it's really important that people understand that it might not be about you as much as it's about the people that you're around.
And I think there's a lot of myths going around too. Things that are just people think are true, like that the sun gets rid of all COVID or heat or
vitamin D.
And vitamin
Yeah,
D.
vitamin D.
Or even I've even seen hot peppers. People think that if you eat hot peppers, that's supposed to protect you against
All
COVID-19.
those antioxidants.
Yeah, or
It'll burn it out.
Right. So I don't know. I think some of it's also too just the distrust of the government, and being told what to do by this government that they may feel that hasn't had their best interest at heart.
Yeah.
And I understand that. But once you look into things, it kind of sheds more light on what the real issues are. And it just concerns me with the young people because it seems they're willing to risk getting COVID, which is such an unknown in terms of what can happen to them and their bodies versus something to protect it. So.
Yeah, and one of the biggest interviews that I'm very interested in is maybe doing an interview with holistic medicine people. Because I know there's been some holistic treatments that have been very, very successful. And so I really want to encourage people that if you don't believe in the vaccine, definitely look for alternative holistic approaches to build your immune system so that you will not be in that position of literally getting it. And literally,
others.
every time you get it, people say it builds up your immunity, but also it does damage.
Right, exactly. I think that's the thing that maybe isn't considered necessarily.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's not a popular topic, but I think in our community, especially with the low numbers of vaccination rates, I think there's only like 27% in San Diego County that have been vaccinated. We're one of the lowest groups. So I don't know.
And that's one of the things that people have to pay attention to, that African Americans, we always talk about what we don't have and, our wealth is not here and this is not here. But then when it comes down to free things, it's like we're not receptive. But if we would have said that you had to pay for it and they couldn't have gotten it, then there would have been this whole fight. Well, this ain't right and we need to have it and, vaccination power.
Right.
So, we have to be able to really, really have the discussion, but also realize that we have to look at the impact when we don't do it.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely.
And so, and this coronavirus is literally mutating almost daily.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Dr. Thompson, right?
Yeah.
If you're not getting vaccinated or if you get it, then that's what spreads all the mutations, which makes them more dangerous for everyone. So
yeah, and then you would have thought the Rona was enough, And then they done came up with the monkeypox, and I'm like, they done came up with monkeypox. I'm like, where did they get monkeypox from? And who named the
And you
monkeypox?
almost don't even want to hear about it. It's like, oh my goodness, another one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I keep on trying to tell people, thank God that we saved and love the Lord because God has given us these Passovers, where the plagues are hitting everything.
Yeah.
He's given us some Passovers, and I thank God for it each and every day. But people got to open up their eyes and see that there's a lot of stuff that is out there, and it's not just the Rona, it's just not the monkeypox, but there are many other things. People ain't even talking about sexually transmitted diseases anymore, and those are on the rise because people were at home.
This is true. This is true.
So there's a lot of things that are impacting us, but here's the overall thing. I think the overall thing is that we have to realize as a community that health has to be number one.
And being educated about
Exactly.
not only just health in general, but your health and being aware of what's going on in your body and going to your appointments if you have any. If something's wrong, go to the doctor, eating well, things like that. And it takes effort. It's not something that you can just kind of sleepwalk through.
Exactly, and that's one of the things that when we begin to talk about these conversations, a lot of times people get a little sensitive.
Yes.
Some people get defensive, but if you really don't have real conversations and talk about real issues, not just blind issues, but just real issues, you will find out that many times things slip through the cracks because we won't have the conversation. And so that's what's important is having the conversation and making sure that we're being intelligent about our conversation. A lot of times people are talking about stuff and it's not even an intelligent conversation. It's not even, there's no research. There's no real talk. It's just like, I don't want to do it because I heard this on Snapchat.
And I think that's the key, the research, right? And that takes time for you to sit and read and really dig a little bit and find out what the real issues are and what's really going on.
Well, I think that we talked about the Rona enough.
Yes, I think we have.
Can we go to Capitol Hill?
Capitol Hill. Ooh, you mean the January 6th?
Well, I want to talk about the January 6th, but can we, before we go there?
Yeah.
Did you have to drive here today?
Yes, I did.
What
the gas prices, I know.
What the president gonna do about these gas prices? Because he say that he gonna say, I'm recommending that the federal gas tax be dissolved right now, put on hold.
Yeah.
But I'm like saying, can I get an executive order?
I know. He's dragging his feet.
So tell me this. I know you guys have been covering stories about gas and people stealing gas and folks getting holes in their gas tank. Mm-hmm. So how do you really feel this is really impacting, especially the black community?
Well, my goodness, just the fact that so many prices how do you even survive? I still wonder that myself, just in terms of rent, gas, food, essentials. Just how do you even keep yourself afloat?
About our conversation. Yes.
I can't even imagine. So, and it's particularly for us as a community, because we're already, many of us struggle in terms of having equitable salaries, opportunities. And even if you're educated, you have degrees and whatnot, you still face these things. It doesn't go away, unfortunately. That's just the reality. So it's going to, again, affect us disproportionately, which is a shame.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. And a lot of people don't realize that people are things are just doubling all over the place. And we just have to be mindful that if we're not paying attention to these kind of things, it can literally mess up more than just, this moment in time.
That's what I was going to say. Definitely paying attention to what's going on. And that goes even further in terms of just, knowing what's happening in your community, knowing what's in terms of things that are coming up, the upcoming elections, right? It all dovetails into who our elected officials are. What are they doing to protect our interests? One of my staff members had shared a TikTok video, not TikTok, a Twitter video that Cory Booker and I can't remember the other senator, they did. It was kind of fun, but it was regarding, what was it? I believe it was something to do with agriculture. But they were advocating for their constituents. They they made it entertaining so people would pay attention to what the issues were. But
Mm-hmm.
these are representatives who are doing something for their people. So that's what all of us need to do, because it all comes back down to our pocketbooks, our health. So being aware is really important. Reading and, keeping up with what's happening.
Exactly. So we're on Capitol Hill. Let's talk about it.
Capitol Hill.
The January 6th committee.
I know.
Um,
Have you been watching it?
I've been watching bits and pieces of it. Ivanka done flipped and said she. I mean, we've been seeing some really good stuff. So update us. What's been going on?
Well, Donald wasn't happy about that. Ivanka kind of turning on him a little bit, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, I haven't watched.
I
Honestly,
think she
I haven't
might be
seen.
renting out the will at this point.
I don't know. She's his favorite child, so maybe
Uh-huh.
maybe he'll forgive her eventually. But well, I haven't watched all of it because I've gotten home too late to watch the whole thing. But what I have watched has been so revealing, obviously, and they've just done such a bang up job of just the production values. My goodness. And just laying things out almost like a TV show. It's just been very engaging and just laying out the case basically for the Department of Justice to hopefully do something about it and get some accountability going. But they laid out obviously on the first day the rioters and how all of that developed, and that it was an actual conspiracy. It wasn't just some organic thing that just happened that day, right?
Exactly.
And I don't know if you noticed, but there were some black people in that crowd.
Yes.
Not many, but there were a few. It was a little shocking, but
And a lot of people don't realize that there are a lot of black conservatives,
Yes.
and that they believe that Trump can do no wrong, and
Exactly.
they were out there like, hey, they stole the election. We got to get her back.
Exactly.
Gotta get her back. I'm like, wow, they
Yeah.
really going there.
Well,
You
the
know?
first day was about that, and so this week was very interesting because it talked about all of the fraud with the electors, the replacement electors that they tried to get in there to switch the votes for the electoral college votes for in the swing states, and some of the elected officials who Trump and Giuliani were trying to turn. It was
Exactly.
shocking, and it was really kind of tragic too, because just hearing the personal stories and the personal impact that these people had to face, just the harassment and the personal toll. But the thing that really got me was the Arizona House Speaker. Very eloquent. I mean, you almost wanted to cry with his testimony and how he just had refused and told Trump, no, I am not going to do anything illegal. I voted for you, I backed you, but I'm not going to do anything illegal. Not going to cheat to win. But then he comes out and he says that he would still vote for Trump.
Yeah.
He would still vote for him.
Well, and that's the unique thing about where we're at in America today is that people, even they would rather be on the side of wrong just so that they could say that they won, or a lot of times, and this is the myth, and can I talk about the myth?
Sure.
The myth is that the economy was so great when Trump was in office. And I'm like saying, can I go just be like, I want to say, knock, knock, zoom, zoom. Do you understand that Trump was riding the wave of Obama?
Exactly.
And now Biden has to ride the wave of Trump. So what you're literally seeing now is the Trump era. These are the outcomes of the Trump era. He had the outcomes of the Obama era, and that's why it looks so great, because so many great things were set in place for him. But by the time he left office and now the new president is in, we're riding that wave.
And that was I'm sorry, go ahead.
So inflation and all the different things that we're seeing now is really an outcome of the Trump presidency.
But his followers and his fans don't see it that way. That's what this particular person said as his explanation for why he was going to still vote for him, even though he was trying to commit fraud and do something illegal, and it was against the Constitution because of what had happened prior to COVID, all the great things that Donald Trump had done. But the thing that is most impactful to me as a black female is the testimony of the election workers. Shay Moss, and Lady Freeman. And Lady
Okay.
Freeman is like the Atlanta version of a Kathleen Harmon.
Yeah.
And their testimony, so dignified, but so touching because of the damage to them, being called out by name.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just so shocking, right? And all the threats that they had to endure.
Yeah.
And it just really goes to show, again, how we have to really pay attention to the issues, to what's happening, who our elected officials are, and also just to stay the course, right? Because they want us to be afraid. The fact that they inserted race into the whole thing, first of all, calling out these two black females, the group that is the least advocated and protected, right? And then, just creating so much harm for them and inserting race into that whole discussion. It just goes to show, they'll just insert race anywhere they can just to try to break us down and to confuse an issue.
Well, the one thing that I don't think that people are really paying attention to, and that is, let's go back to when Donald Trump was running and all this stuff was coming out about him saying you could do this to women and that to women.
Yeah.
And everybody just blew it off as locker room talk. It really wasn't anything. But there is a lack of respect for women that stand up or disagree with Donald Trump like anybody else. But, Omarosa was there. And now it's Omarosa who?
Right.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right. I forgot about
So
that.
many women have come and they have gone, and every time that they leave, it's out of disrespect.
Because he can't take it. He can't take a strong female. Really.
Exactly. And obviously, he can't even take a strong male because when the males were telling him, look, you off. You know what I'm saying? And here's the thing that really shocks me, and that is he literally was running the thing to get Pence.
I know. Yes.
Isn't that crazy?
It is. It is. And Pence, you see, he hasn't really said much, has he, about it?
Yeah.
The fact that his life was in danger. He wasn't even going to get in the limo to be taken away from the Capitol because he didn't know what was going to happen to him. But one thing I do want to point out, Dr. Thompson, is just that we just as a people just have to stay vigilant. We really do. Just the fact with these poor women, black women that had to suffer at the hands of these out of touch, I don't even want to say, Trump and his people. But I think it's important just to stay the course and know that the struggle continues, but we have a lot of strong shoulders that we can stand on. Lots of people in our community, our family, our uncles, mothers, grandfathers, grandmothers, etc., that are examples of what we have overcome. And yes, it is 2022. It's not 1920, which they said to those two women, when they're threatening them. Thank goodness it is in 1920. It's not 1865 either, right? So we have come a long way, thank goodness. Some things have changed, but we have to continue to create that change.
Yes, and I want to celebrate Donald Trump, because for so long we tried to figure out who could be the poster child for a bully. And now we literally have a presidential candidate, a person that we literally can use as a poster child for what bullying really looks like. And his bullying was, I wouldn't even say his bullying was racist. I would say his bullying was against anybody who thought differently or disagreed with him. He became a bully. Even his own running mate, I believe he bullied his wife. I believe that he bullied his children. And that is, and the ability to be that type of bully means that you have the resources to create people that are going to agree with you. Now, there have been millions of dollars raised. They can't figure out where it's at. And yet and still, the bully still is being invited. He's being paid. People are giving money. And that lets you know that sometimes people would rather have a bully than to have somebody that's integral. But we have to build this country off of integrity. And when integrity leaves, you get chaos.
That's right. And we're in it now. I mean, we already are in it.
Yes, And I have to say, could you imagine if he was president right now and old Putin did what he did? He'd have been
I don't
like,
even want to think about it.
he'd have been like sitting up there. Well, it is what it is. Putin want the property back. He's trying to bring his country. He's trying to make the USSR great again.
Yeah, but then we have people like your cousin, right? Or
Yeah.
did you say your uncle? Who's heading up the commission?
You mean cousin Thompson up there? Right. Oh, that's a smooth dude.
Yes,
smooth dude. I thank God that we have. He representing well. So what about old cuz?
Oh well, just that he's like you said, he's representing well. He's laying it all out and making sure that it gets done, right?
Yeah.
That the commission gets done and that what needs to be heard is heard, and hopefully the Department of Justice will hear it as well and do something, take the next step. But at least the American people, even for the man, the Arizona House Speaker, even though he would still vote for Trump, he was still there doing what was right and testifying to what happened so that everybody can know that this has gone too far.
And I think that all of the repairs and everything that they had to do to the Capitol, Donald Trump should receive that bill, and he should be responsible for paying it. You know what I'm saying?
Good
And
point.
if he doesn't pay it, naturalize all of his property and keep taking everything he has until the bill is paid. Because the bottom line is, I'm sorry. I'm a homeowner. If you tell people to roll up in my house, and you tear up my house and people are defecating and all the other stuff and everything else that nature, you best to believe that you're not going to get off with a slap on the wrist saying that it wasn't me. That the whole Shaggy thing about it wasn't me don't work.
But do you think it's going to happen? I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
I really think this is what's going to happen. I think that he is going to try to run again.
Oh, definitely.
And I really truly believe that if he gets drug, and I mean drug to the point that it's embarrassing drug, I really believe at that point you will see the true Donald Trump. He will probably jump off one of his buildings and be like sitting up there like, it's not fair,
Wait, you said get drugged?
Yeah. When that whole thing about when you get beat so bad,
Oh,
that you look like you just been
yes.
you just been drugged through the mud.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He has to lose in a very, very big way because his ego. And see, and let me do this. The Bible say that that pride comes before the fall and destruction. I truly believe that his pride is going to cause a great fall, and not only is it going to him being embarrassed, but I believe he will lose it all. Because his intentions are so ill-gotten.
But his followers, though. His followers. Dr. Warren calls them his Praetorian Guard.
Well, some people say that he did more for black people than most presidents did, right? But here's the thing that I want to say. Now, did Donald Trump invoke certain laws to do something that really did help black people? Yes. Okay. But did he do it on the pure essence? I'm like, okay, let me just do this. Lincoln, he signed the Emancipation Proclamation, am I right?
Yes.
But Lincoln did not sign the Emancipation Proclamation because he loved black people and he wanted to free all the slaves. He literally signed it because he was trying to keep the Union together.
Exactly.
So he signed it because of that. But if he could have kept the Union together and not did the Emancipation Proclamation, guess what? Swing low, sweet chariot. We would still be fighting for freedom.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So certain times people do things because it is advantageous for the overall. But do you really believe in it?
So you're saying we need to be aware of that?
You have to be aware of it.
Yes.
We as African American and people of color in general have to realize is that you cannot kiss me on the forehead 1 minute and then shoot me in the back the next minute. You cannot tell me that you can't. If every other country, when they have a mass shooting, could come out and say, we're banning all assault weapons. Donald Trump, well, hey, you the good guy. Well, why didn't you put it in legislation?
Yeah.
Since you said nobody else could.
Which brings us back to people making sure that we know the issues and we really pay attention.
And so with that being said,
yes.
I want to say this. I'm gonna flip it all the way back to the San Diego Voice and Viewpoint.
Thank you. I was going to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to flip it all the way back to the San Diego Voice and Viewpoint because we're talking issues and everything. And I said, I wanted a portion of this show. We agreed that we were going to talk about the direction of the Voice and Viewpoint as you being the managing editor. Yeah, y'all got all this team on now, and y'all got social media, y'all got apps, y'all got all. Update everybody on what's going on, because this is literally where a lot of people can get real, true facts and real stories that are impacting the African American community.
Yeah, and it's really exciting because we are definitely expanding and growing and getting on that digital revolutionary train. As you mentioned, we have the app. Our first introductory app has launched, so anybody can download it from the Android or the Apple store. Our website is expanding. We're developing a calendar, a community calendar, so that people can input information about things going on, events that are going on around town, so that we're a hub for that. So look out for that on our website the next month and a half or so.
Okay.
What else? Those are the biggies, actually, right there.
Well, let's talk about the increase of the staff.
Well, we are hiring a researcher writer. So anybody out there who wants to do some research and write for us, let us know. We're also hiring some investigative journalists. We have a new front office desk person coming on soon. So we've also, we have an assistant. I have an assistant. So that's a big deal.
That's a big deal, because I'm still trying to figure out. I'm still trying to figure out that whole thing and finding somebody that fits. Because when you're in leadership, you kind of be a little bit difficult.
Yes.
To have assistants, because you have so much in your head.
Right.
And so you expect the assistant by osmosis many times to be able to grab what you need them to grab.
Right.
And when they don't, you be like, you ain't been around me long enough to get this? So can I break down the Voice and Viewpoint and this what's going on? So one of the things I want to ask, because first of all, I feel like there's been a makeover on the paper, but also even in the office space. So let's just talk about the infrastructure makeover, because y'all done dolled it up in there. Y'all done got super Wi-Fi, and so let's just talk about just the atmosphere.
Well, we're definitely I guess you could say we're doing a makeover. Definitely, where we've got more of a newsroom feel. When you walk in the door, it's very clear what's going on.
Yeah.
And we're all working really hard just to get the content into the paper. We've got a social media / digital editor. One of our staff members has transitioned into that role, so much more social media going on. Just so many things that you're going to be seeing of us. Ask me some questions. I guess.
Well, what I love about it is the internship opportunity, because I have an intern here that actually talked to me, and I said, okay, well, grab one of the digital cameras since you got an assignment. And she was on assignment this past weekend and was very excited about it. So let's talk about some of the internships.
Oh, yes, definitely. We just had an wonderful intern from San Diego State San Diego State University. Wonderful girl. She was from up north. So she helped us out quite a bit with our women's issue and our minority health issue. And we are open for other interns who might want to come on board in the summer. We're talking about a few that might be working with us from LA, from Loyola Marymount. And in the fall, we'll have our office open to more interns that will come from either San Diego State or possibly Southwestern. Still building some connections there. But yeah, we are just moving full steam ahead, covering all the hyper-local issues that are important to San Diego and San Diego County.
So let me talk about, you had some key issues that came out that were more massive. Let's talk about some of those.
We just had our Juneteenth issue. Definitely covered all of the ins and outs, what was going on in the city, and our issue this week is going to be covering the events that have happened. So definitely get your copy. Lots of pictures in there, different things that have happened. We just finished. We had our minority health issue. That was a big deal.
Yeah, that's where I wanted you to hit those big ones like that, because that was like the paper that you wanted to have, because it was going to be a reference.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we have those every year, our minority health issue. Definitely. That's something you can pick up time and again and get all the skinny on what's happening with us and our health in many different areas. Our women's issue from March, we have that every year, and that one is definitely informative. We're going to be having an immigration issue coming up
Wow.
in, I believe, August or September.
Okay, wait a minute now. So immigration, what are we talking about with immigration?
All the different issues related to the African population here, any other, obviously the Latino population, but definitely the African population, and all the different issues related to that, and the legal barriers and some of the discrimination that's involved with all of that. We have a career and education issue that's going to be coming. It's going to be a little smaller, but we're going to have that sometime in July.
So one of the things I love about the Voice and Viewpoint, a lot more color. I see that you're expanding on pages all
Yes.
the time. So there's sometimes that it comes out and I'm like saying, oh, wait a minute, this is an extra thick version. But I've been seeing the expansion. I've been loving to see more advertisement coming in from all over the country, knowing that that's a viable way to get out to the African American and African community. But what I see is every issue is almost like, well, I would say almost like a textbook, that every week you come out with issues, an issue that is addressing everything that's going on that we're experiencing as Black America. And you just don't take it just from the local perspective, but you take it from the international and the national perspective.
Yeah, the national, regional, international.
So let me ask you this question. How are you all getting all of this information? Now, I know Dr. Warren's a baller, and his editorials are in over 200 plus newspapers around the country. But how are you guys getting all this content? And why do I look at other newspapers and see them grabbing y'all's content and putting it in their content? Talk to me about
That
it.
does happen sometimes, and especially digitally too, online as well. Well, we have partners that we work with in addition to our contributing writers who all, we either assign them or they pitch ideas to us, and then we say, yeah, go ahead, run with it. And yeah, we just, with our partnerships with different entities, we have a partnership with AP News. So we put a lot of late breaking things on our website and in the paper. So yeah, we have sources that we use, and that's where a lot of the work comes in. Monday through Wednesday is like very intense because we're sifting through all that information and figuring out what's going to go where. I should say I for the most part, and our team. Yeah, so just making sure that we are giving the news that is pertinent to us here.
So I'm going to go all the way back when I used to come and hang out at the Voice and Viewpoint way back in the day, and they were preparing the paper, and they had the little X-Acto knives, and they were cutting out different pieces, printing and cutting out and getting it ready for print. Do we still do that today?
Oh, definitely not. No,
Okay.
that was before my time. No, everything's digital. Everything's digital, and we use remote staff to lay out and design our paper, and we can thank Chida Warren Darby for transitioning the paper into the digital era, definitely. So I've just taken over from what she began, to be honest. Yeah, so we just have people everywhere, all over the place, all over, not just in San Diego and not just in California, putting the paper together, laying it out, designing it, and making it unique to our community. I keep coming back to the community because that's who we serve, and making it enjoyable for you.
Yeah.
Because we're here for you, definitely. It's all about the people.
So let me ask you this question, because when we had the pause with the coronavirus, the COVID-19 virus, a lot of things changed in how we looked at employment and how things work. And before it was like everybody needed to be in the office. We had to be here at a certain time. We had to end at a certain time. How have you seen this whole 2-year expansion of us having to go online, have to communicate, have to use different technology? How has that impacted the media game?
Well, I'd say, I mean, it's no longer just a print game. You know, we're always going to be a print publication, but I think people and our readership expanded as well because people just were looking for information. So we were one of those essential businesses that stayed open. Our office never closed. We closed to the public, but yeah, so definitely just making sure that you're giving that information that people can definitely use, not just necessarily fluff, because people need to know what to do, especially during COVID. I mean, it was all about where do you go? What do you do? What is this about? How do I manage? How do I get to where I need to go to get a shot or even to get a test or resources for rent? What are the laws related to the rent moratorium? Which cities had them for how long? Things like that. Am I answering your question?
No, that
Yeah.
is very, very important. And one of the things that what I want to celebrate the county is that they realize the valuable resource the Voice and Viewpoint is and currently is, and they made sure that they partner with you to get the information
Yes.
out. So there was never a time whereas we didn't know where vaccination sites were, and if we didn't have information, if we went to the Voice and Viewpoint, there was always a number, there was always something to call, and then you guys went even beyond that. You guys did town halls,
Yeah.
you guys did lots of things, and then you started literally making the paper totally free online.
That's right. And I
Yeah.
forgot to mention that, didn't I? Sorry. Yes, very important. The digital edition of the paper is free online every week. We went into overdrive during COVID. I mean, it was like, wow, we just really just getting that information out. Our paper, if you look back at that time, we had so many resources. I mean, we were working night and day to get that information up. And we had a COVID site, a page on our website before anybody else did, before the county even,
Yeah.
before any of these other entities that finally got it together and got information about COVID facts and whatnot. We did it first. Yeah. So I'm very proud of that.
Yeah. So let me ask you this question.
Yes.
I'm a youngster.
Uh-huh.
I might be in high school, might be early college, and I want to get into this newspaper game. Could you give me some advice of how I can get into the game and what I should start off doing first?
Get as much experience as possible. Just roll up your sleeves, and if you want to be a writer, write. Just write and submit your work. If you want to work for the Voice and Viewpoint, be proactive, contact us, and don't just contact us once, contact us 2, 3 times if you haven't heard from us, and pitch us ideas. I think in the media game, you just have to be on it from sun up to sundown, really, and be a go-getter. You got to show people that you are a problem solver. You have an initiative. You have foresight, insight. You can see the big picture, but also get down to the nitty-gritty and the nuts and bolts and the details.
Yeah. And one of the things that I watched an intern do this weekend is not only did she take pictures, but she wrote the story.
Yes.
And what I
We're
was
very happy.
what I was talking to her about is like saying, no excuses. Have it in on time. Make sure your photos are good. If you got to edit, make sure you edit. But when you hit that deadline, you hit that deadline because that's how you get into the game. It's not about what you can tell me you can do. Show me what you can do.
So much. That is so true. Show me what you can do and what you can do over the long haul.
Exactly.
Not just at the beginning when you want in, but what are you going to do in the long run, especially when things get hard and when things get rough. When the rubber meets the road, where are you going to be? Are you going to be about those excuses that you mentioned, Dr. Thompson? Are you going to be about the solution to the problem?
Yeah. And see, you know what type of interns I like? The ones that call you up and say, hey, I see that this is going on, this is going on. Do you need me to cover that? Do you need me to cover?
Exactly.
Those are the ones that get put to the next level because they are willing to do the work. And you can literally see that they're in tune
Right.
with the movement of your organization. I tell people all the time, you can't work for the Voice and Viewpoint and don't read the Voice and Viewpoint.
Oh, no.
You feel me?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And I want people to understand that this ability to get out resources, get out information is so powerful. The ability to write and the power of the pen makes a great impact on the community. And the one thing I love about it is that, digital might go away, but when you get that print and you get to feel it and everything, you can go back to it over and over again. I don't know about you,
No, I'm
but
right there with you.
we
Right there with you.
we got we. I go back into my mama's coffers, and she still got Life magazines. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, what we doing with the Life mag? But it had Martin Luther King on it. I said, I got you. I understand.
Well, that's why I said the Voice and Viewpoint will always be print, but we definitely are transition. We have already transitioned to digital. So, because the reality is, a lot of people get their news digitally. But what kind of news do they get? That's the question to ask too, because I think one of our roles at the Voice and Viewpoint is to make sure that some truth is in there. Some facts that can be backed up, and not just fluff or rumor. So we're a trusted source, definitely. And we provide that insight and viewpoint, for lack of a better way of putting it, that you're just not going to get at the traditional publications.
And you know what I love about this is that with the transitions and the things that you have done, you become very Buppy friendly. You know,
Oh, really?
yeah, because I see people now posing with the newspaper, making sure they get their little business shot, reading the newspaper. So let's talk about the transition where the age range is growing in the young up and coming.
Well, it's interesting because our main readership is our females, and they are probably my age to about mid 30s, but we have people who are younger than that. We have a significant group of people who are much younger, and then we have the older population. So we're kind of all over, really, all readers, all ages, all demographics read our paper.
You know,
And it's
I,
nice to see.
I'm sorry about that. I was going
No,
to say,
no.
I
Go
want to
ahead.
do a challenge to the young people because I really believe if some young people got in, I'm talking about high schoolers, and said, look, I want to write and I got stories and everything else of that nature. I really believe that you guys could get you a little section in the Voice and Viewpoint, and then you could brag to all of your friends, go pick up the newspaper. I'm in it. I wrote the story. Check me out.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And we are open to that. Young people, call me,
Yeah. And
contact me.
so you're pretty much running the day to day now.
Yes,
Okay, so
this is true.
you're the El Jefe when it comes down to getting hired and everything else. I know Dr. Warren come in and give the blessing, but you actually do the work before they get to go to the Grand Poobah as they would.
I guess you could say that. I mean, he's the head honcho for sure, and I just assist him. That's how I see my role. I'm assisting him, but definitely, yes, I do run the day to day. I coordinate all the with input from Dr. Warren, but I also coordinate the assignments to the contributing writers and the photographers, the pages, what gets in the pages, hiring, interns, pretty much, yeah.
So I'm going to ask you this question. Now, when you have an iconic leader and an iconic person such as Dr. Warren, how then do you do your role at the level that you do? Because I know that every time he talks about it now, he says, if it wasn't for my managing editor. And so he gives you a lot of kudos for the growth and where the paper is now. But there is a massive relationship I see of respect that has allowed him to be able to free you because of
Yes.
the way you deal with him as the leader. So let's talk about that.
Well, I have a lot of respect for Dr. Warren. I mean, I have learned so much from him, and just watching him, listening to him, I'm wise enough to know that he knows a whole lot more than me. And by the same token, he hears me as well. So it's I'm very fortunate in that way, and I'm blessed in that way. But I've just so many things that he says, does. Watching him is just such an instruction for me. And I think, yeah, it's just helped me to be an even better leader in what I do with the paper, definitely. And I think, honestly, I'm kind of a perfectionist. I'm trying to recover from that. So I feel like I guess it serves me because I have a high standard of myself. So I have a high standard of everyone that works with me. And I I just have a love and desire to give our readership the best that I can give them. So the best quality that I can give them. And, I won't settle for less, honestly. I mean, that honestly.
So have you ever heard, and this is, I digress, but I'm going to ask this question.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of a young lady by the name of Suzanne DePaz?
I have.
Okay, so you remind me of Suzanne DePaz, because Suzanne DePaz was with Barry Gordy, and you're with John Warren. And Suzanne DePaz, they said she had a signature saying that she said to Barry.
Oh.
Now Barry was like John, he knew everything. He been around. He got friends, family, and everything else that nature. And she would say, "Now, Mr. Gordy, instead of giving me a fast no, give me a slow yes." You appear to be got that same energy when it comes down to Dr. Warren, that he gives you the slow yes instead of the fast no.
Yeah, I would say that's true. I would say that's definitely true.
And so, I've kind of watched the dynamics. And the one thing that I've noticed, and this is what I share with young people, is when you're with an iconic person, when you make sure that they know that you are there to support and to be there for them, it's easier for them to give you more. And I've literally watched you come in and say, "Okay, Dr. Warren, you haven't eaten today, so I've ordered your food already, and you need to sit down and eat." And he'll, "No, I got to do X, Y, and Z." Yes, you can, but the food is on the way, and we done already paid for it, so we don't want to waste. And so tell me about that, because I see the dynamics of you doing it for the leader, but I also see you doing that for your staff, that you have a very nurturing nature with even your staff.
Oh, well, I definitely try, because everybody's an individual, and you have to meet people where they are, but also give them guidance and direction and some structure. But I think I think having been a teacher really has helped me in that area, because having been a teacher, you know that you have to deal with all these different students with different needs and abilities and what have you. And you can't have a classroom without classroom management. It just doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
So I think I've, not on purpose, but just by osmosis, brought a bit of that into my work as a managing editor, managing people. But definitely valuing them and just, setting a standard and working as a team and making sure that they know that they're valued.
Yeah, because I be getting offended when I be calling on meeting day, and I get the comment, "We're in a meeting right now," and I'm like saying, "Well, why can't I be in the meeting?" Because before it's only a couple of folks, but now you got all this staff and different people from different places. So tell me, what's coming up next and exciting that we should know about The Voice and Viewpoint?
Well, as I mentioned, the immigration issue, the education issue. And I'd say really the calendar. I'm really excited personally for the calendar, where we are working on our website and bringing up to the minute breaking news that is going to be like a stream of news that's going to be there all the time, 24/7 on our website. So we're in heavy development right now for that. So those are really exciting things. So you can just go onto our website and see stuff that has just dropped. Yeah.
Well, that's very exciting. I know that you have your first portion of your app out, but it's going to be even more intensive as the years go on.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
So that's very exciting. So again, if I know there's some positions available, right?
Yes, as I said, researcher, writer, investigative journalist.
Okay, wait a minute. Researcher, writer. That's one.
Yes.
And then the next one is?
Investigative journalist.
Oh, an investigative journalist.
Yeah. Freelance, though. Freelance.
We get to investigate?
Yes. Did you say?
Investigate? We
Yes.
get to right.
Yeah. Deep, investigative reporting. You'll be getting it from us in addition to what we're already doing. And what else? The front desk, we are almost ready to hire for that one.
Okay.
So.
Now that like we say in the church, the usher is almost there.
Yes.
The first greeter, the people that come through the door,
yes.
Is very important of that.
Absolutely.
And I know that that was a position that Dr. Warren said was very valuable to just the whole branding of the organization.
Yes.
Now, I heard some other secrets. I heard that y'all going to be trying to get drone operators so that you can get drone shots, and
Yes,
I hear y'all going all the way
that
out
is
with it.
coming. That's coming very soon. Yeah, I mean, just look out because we are definitely moving and shaking even more than we already do.
Yeah, and one of the things I love about it is that the staff is, I won't say quadruple, but it's a much larger staff. It's a much more spread out staff. It's a more being that great decisions have been made. You've been able to bring on team members that are really true players.
Absolutely.
Sometimes we make exceptions to the rules because we need bodies. But this time, I see that not only are you have bodies, but you have very competent bodies, and people are looking to get on board and be a part of this train that is really. I don't know if is it the biggest newspaper, African American owned newspaper on the West Coast right now.
I wouldn't say that, no, but definitely in San Diego County, obviously. But no, not on the West Coast. But we are a part of a West Coast group of black publishers, and Dr. Warren is the head of that regional organization. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I tell you, this has been a great conversation. For those people that are tuned in today, we have the managing editor, Miss Latanya West, with us today. Dr. Warren is on travel. For the last 2 weeks, he's been on travel, and I was very honored when he said, "You know what? We're not going to miss another show." The managing editor, which we've been trying to get you more and more here, is going to come on, and I think that is very exciting. Number one, because we love to see not only the growth of organizations, but we also love to see that we are getting more and more women in leadership and in very, very powerful positions. Tell me, if someone wants to book you to speak or to be on a panel, how would they do that? How would they contact you?
Well, they can contact my agent now.
Okay, all right. See, because you was all in that life. You was about that life.
Yeah, no. They can contact the Voice and Viewpoint or me personally, Latanya at sdvoice.info.
Okay.
Yes.
And now are you doing keynoting now? Are you?
I'm definitely available for that.
Okay, very, very good. I think that is very exciting, especially when we get into the educational issues. I think that it's going to be an amazing opportunity for you to get in schools and to talk to the journalism classes and really engage people in the journalism. Print is not dead,
No,
and print is just expanding. And I always, even like in the church, a lot of people said, well, we weren't going to the church, but a lot of pastors said that their membership doubled while they were not going to church because they had all this online presence. And now that they're back in church, the online presence is still there.
Yes.
And so they have their online members and their members that are coming in, but there are those options. So now the paper is just not where you got to go to the newsstand, but you literally can go online and stay current and effective. Lastly, I just want to say opportunities to advertise, because that is a big thing for the newspaper, that your advertisements are actually giving great results.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And they just keep coming. We if you are interested in advertising with the paper, just contact us. We're there. We will definitely get your ad in front of the right people.
Well, with that being said, our time is far spent. Any final words?
No, just I had a great time. Thank you for having me.
Well, there you have it from the desk of the editor. This is the managing editor, Miss Latanya West. We'll be back next week. Hopefully she'll come in and we'll have, a threesome with Dr. Warren, myself, and also